The course of this semester is designed for students to understand about theater administration, how theater companies promote their works, and how to perform creative works. So, I would like to tell students how the theater administration is carried out, what is the procedure for a production, and how would your team proceed with theater performance. And finally, students will finish the works together. This is the idea of the whole course. And after all, this course is called Performance Arts. So I would like the students to learn to do theatrical creation in each class. I would first show students a program note, or program booklet, which includes all the titles and names of the production team, such as the performers, the producer, the director, etc. These are the people of the production team that produces a theater performance and gives you the idea of the basic structure of theater administration. When students study the program notes, they will read the content, they find something, and they take their own notes. This helps students discover by themselves. And when they find something, I would tell them that actually the program note presents the structure of the theater organization. Then I will ask students to complete a worksheet. Teachers may want to refer to the worksheet here. There are a lot of characters in it. Students may group the characters by themselves. Who belongs to the administration team? Who belongs to the creation team? They can also do a pre-test first. Then when I finish my teaching, they can find out whether their perception is right or wrong. The purpose here is to clarify the questions. On the back of this worksheet, there's the organization chart of the Guoguang Opera Company for them to see the complete picture of a theater company. What we do next is to figure out the process of theater making. So I prepared whiteboards for them to write it down, as it's down in the form of group discussions and they were from different clubs, so they can share ideas with one another, such as what is needed, what should be there, what would we need. After this, I gave them what I have prepared, including my creation of musicals, the structure of my MA thesis. I also show them the musical, Miss Saigon, from the documentary The Making of Miss Saigon. It shows what happens before the performance, the process of production, auditions, and rehearsals, to let students understand the process of a theater production. There are no absolute rules for a production process. All can be adjusted according to the needs of the company or the performance. There may be some adjustments, however, the basic framework is quite the same. And the main reason in introducing theater administration at the beginning of this semester is to let students know that when we make a production, it's necessary to have the administration and the production team. Then next, we are on the way to making students realize the general process of making theater step by step. And at the end of the semester, when they do the production, they would know the process.
Why are the birds making so much noise here? I'm losing my nerve. Stupid birds, go away.
What is it? These leaves of the trees fall when the wind blows. The fallen leaves can't be swept away. Go away! Residents hate flowers and trees. Flowers stink. Hate green mountains and clear rivers. For students' development, we want to return to the local resources. For example, we, the Taoyuan High School, should let the students take their life experiences as people from the school or as residents of Taoyuan City and explore what they care about or feel in local areas and turn it into the materials for discussion and presentation. In the end, the students put these two things together to create their text through their own bodies and voices to create and rehearse a scene. Then I hope they can have a complete presentation at the end of the semester. I also hope this presentation can be localized so that our students can take root in the local and develop. For the part of taking roots, we hope that we can visit the junior high schools to make some connections with our nearby junior high school students, so the students can present their work to the junior high school students. Through the interactions with junior high school students, we will help them understand that to accomplish one thing, or to do one thing well, it takes a lot of practices, rehearsals, and explorations. Then the students at the junior high schools should also feel that the process is not so easy. When they see the performance, they would have a sense of empathy to appreciate the presentation of the seniors. This is the perspective that we take this semester, the consideration and thread for this creative performance class. There is the largest and most beautiful temple in Luzhou called Yonglian Temple. This temple holds a grand ritual every 3 years to pay respect to General Zhen Chengong. Do you know the origin of the ritual? No? Why? The legend goes back to the Jiaqing period of the Qing dynasty about 300 years ago. At that time, a notorious pirate named Cai Qian, who sailed on the Taiwan Strait, he committed all sorts of crimes and took away people's property with force.
Fellows, I heard that there's a place called Danshui in Taiwan. People there are very rich. Let's kill them and take all the money from them.
Yes, sir.
Money, money, money!
Why I chose to do this presentation in an elementary school? Because I had a very important purpose. I hope that this group of students, after the course in performance creation, they wouldn't become passive learners, but proactive leaders. That is, they would share what they have learned with other children. I divided our students into 4 groups and took them to the elementary school for performance. In addition to the performance, they also play theater games and activities with the children. When they lead the theater games and activities, they would find out that some kids cannot follow their instructions attentively. What should they do then? How to make these children behave and stop disobedience? Or what some children made their requests. How would they react? Therefore, they learned how to be leaders and pay attention to the condition of each student. Secondly, when performing in the elementary school, the sense of the presence is excellent. Because the children's feedback was very direct, every movement they did, every line spoken, kids would give them some responses, and they would feel very happy. Although the performance was not long, students were very involved in the performance and enjoyed it a lot during the process. This is a very good reward for their achievements in the performance. In fact, the reason why we took the materials from Luzhou, based on the story of Zhen Chengong in Luzhou, and we ended up presenting the story in a nearby elementary school, actually, it is because we hope to present stories like this in a fun and expressive way, to share with the students of the Lujiang Elementary School. They were also local residents. And in a way, we let the story become more... Actually, when we performed in a local elementary school, which is in the same community with us, the value of this story becomes higher. Because we are telling a local story. And the kids would understand that. In this place where we are located, such a story once happened before. Then their feelings for the land added more understanding and emotions. In each group, during the process of rehearsing, no one can stay out of it. Why? Because every student needs to interpret, as I just said, many different roles. Also, take turns to interpret different roles. This is a form of storytelling theater. So, one of the interesting things about storytelling theater is that there is no such thing as entering and making exit on the stage. That is, no one goes behind the curtain and then comes out. All the performers are always on the stage. So each of them, during the performance time, needs to be there, whether they have lines or not. They need to be in the situation all the time, so it will take them a lot of time to think about what to do even if they don't have any lines. What would be my body movements? And when I have lines, how should I express them? And this will become the key thing for them to think about during the rehearsals. They would spend a lot of time communicating about that.
I'll start with the director's job. Their duties in staging a show. Next, before the class begins, as we're all doing online classes now, I asked students to research online about the first director in the East and the one in the West. Later on, I will let them know about a brief history of the theater directors and the early definitions of the director's job in the theaters. Then I will tell them the workflow of the director's job. Before, during, and reviews after the theater performance. So basically, these are the 3 stages for the director's job. I also collected some books on directing, and I asked students to read. For directing, I specifically focused on the directing for theaters. As it's different from film directing, I will share with the students information like this. So last week, students learned how to direct and what to prepare, and reviewed the parts for theater administration. We watched how the musical Miss Saigon was produced, starting from the generation of ideas for the script, pre-meetings before auditions, casting for actors. The whole rundown as such to let them know that the director's job is not as simple as they imagined. The director's workload is quite heavy. First, the students were asked to read the script. Currently, we have 12 students in the class. They were divided into 3 groups, with 4 people in each group. In the script, there happens to be 4 characters: father, mother, brother, and sister. So I let these 4 people in each group to find partners by themselves. Then, according to the content of the play, each group is further divided into 4 segments. For these 4 segments, students learn how to be the director. I asked them if they're the director, how would they plan to do it? How would they design the process? This is what they do in the first week. For this week, students will review some key points from last week. And next, they will actually carry on the practices. They set up the simple tables and chairs for rehearsal to make it more real, so that they get to know how to practice. Maybe if the table is tilted, it looks more like a coffee stand, because of its angle. Basically, if you actually sit on a chair, none of us would be LeBron James. So we couldn't stretch our arms and legs that far. So the table and chair must be kept at an equal distance. If it's really in the course of a class, students will be invited to come up one by one to set up the seats. If there is only one master's chair and a bench in the middle, how would you arrange them? If you have 2 chairs or 3 chairs, a table, and a long table, how would you set them? There are multiple ways to deal with these situations, and everyone thinks differently. So if you let students see other settings, they will realize there is no right or wrong, just as what I say in class. There is no right or wrong. We only choose the best one to present, so students come forward one by one. But, of course, I won't suggest teachers do this, because it takes too much time, especially when the class size is large. You can let students work in groups and ask students to decide the order of presentations, or you can just assign the sequence for each group. For example, A1, then B1, C1 in each group. the number 1 or number 2 in each group. A1 will be number 1 in Group A, and A2 will be number 2 for Group A. You plan the scenario first, and when they come up to perform, encourage them as much as you can. Just like doing the director's job. First, you need to know how would the class go today. You have to think in advance whether you want to assign the director first or the playwright for each group, because your ideas and plans for the process might be different from the director's view. Then there will be things for you to reflect and discuss. Let's talk about choosing a script. Firstly, if a teacher is not able to create a script, maybe you can refer to works written by some playwrights like Ma Sen, works from Taipei National University of the Arts, or those from Professor Chi Wei-Yan's scripts as I mentioned, or even scripts you find in your daily life. You should be able to purchase them easily. You may choose 2 or 3 plays with dialogues. No need to be long, maybe just 1 scene, to let your students rehearse. About 6 to 10 minutes long will be quite enough. At the beginning, you can ask your students to rehearse for a 3-minute one, because it's easy to do a 3-minute piece. And of course, it depends on how each teacher runs the class in your school, because before I let my 10th grade students do this, they already tried a simpler version. It's about 5 minutes long, so now the scene we will do is about 6 minutes long. After the basic rehearsals, maybe you can challenge further. This course is one of the enriched and expanded elective courses. Basically, the students already have some ideas of their own, so you may make the course a little bit more challenging. If 2 people are playing against each other in terms of director's blocking, it's too simple to be creative, so you can have 3 or 4 more people to it, or make it a scene for 5, but do not have too many people. Some scripts may have less copyright issues. For example, scripts published by the National Taiwan Arts Education Center. They hold the competition of excellent scripts every year, and they release all the wonderful scripts. So you just click on the good scripts on its website, or choose the winner's works. But the most important thing is, as the teacher, you need to read the script first. You need to imagine the kind of results you expect from your students. Then you do your design. So these are my suggestions for script selections.
When we talk about administration and production, administration is to do everything from every department cohesively. When talking about production, it's more like what Teacher Fang Ting and Teacher Wen Kai are doing, such as how to execute a performance, performing, directing, and playwriting, and how these art departments work together to present the final production of the play, the one you watch with the audience. Like when I go to the theater, when I watch a play, I like to read the list of the production teams in the program notes, especially now there are so many kinds of theatrical performances. And if you just look at the list of the performers, you can imagine the structure of the production, the structure behind it. Remember that the university is a place of freedom. Find for yourself a place to think independently. Don't be afraid to speak up. Don't worry if you would think too much, or whether your classmates or teachers would think you naggy. No, autonomy, freedom. But be self-disciplined. A self-disciplined person thinks more freely. While you are in school, you can try to interact more with the industry, doing part-time jobs, or do internships outside with the teacher. See more and choose more. Try different things, and experiment in many ways. These are all how learning can be extended. I think ask yourself what you like, and find these things. Find the connection between you and these things. Then you will know what resources you need to find next, and how to support your interests and curiosity. Curiosity is something that for the creators or for the individual person, we should always keep at all time. If we can always be curious about life, we will be closer to all the things around us.